Hello friends, welcome back to the League of 72. There's a cheeky little winter pause going on, isn't there? A little breather for the championship teams, the managers, maybe not all the players. Some will be, of course, in Qatar, and we've done a video on some of the players from the EFL that you should keep an eye out on the World Cup stage this winter. But in the meantime, what we thought we'd do, we thought we'd grade every single team's season so far. So if you are a fan of any of these teams, let us know how you feel about the situation right now. Have I got it right? Have I got it wrong? But most importantly, hit that subscribe button because this is the place for all your EFL needs. Let's get into it. So as I said, we're going to have a look at every League 2 team season so far and give them a grading based on what we've seen so far. Stick around to see what grade we give your team. First up, AFC Wimbledon, C-, has to be. Relegation has hurt them. After relegation from League One last season, some peering from the side might have expected Wimbledon to be contenders to go straight back up. Unfortunately, this has not been the case, with many players, including young star Jack Rudoni, leaving the club. But after a very poor start, they have picked up some points and now look like they're building up some momentum and have subsequently avoided a D grade. It's got to be a B+ for Barrow. A very positive start with 10 wins already on the board and currently sitting in 5th place. It's been a brilliant start for Barrow. Forward Josh Gordon has been excellent so far this season, having notched up 9 goals already with a 24% conversion rate, which is pretty tasty. With the side utilising their rigid formation, they have made it really tough for the opposition and win a lot of matches by that singular goal. But if it works, it works. And long may it rain. Bradford City, a big improvement on last season. We're going to give them a B. Bradford are averaging 1.83 points per game at the minute, which is what Forest Green Rovers averaged last season to win the league. I remember the great Ian Holloway saying that if you get 2 points on average per game, then you will be in the division above the next season. And thus, they're very close to that and looking pretty good. This is a huge improvement on the 1.26 points per game that they averaged last season. And it finally looks like they're finding their feet in League 2. Carlisle United, B-, good, but they need to stop drawing. Carlisle have only lost 3 of their 18 matches so far this season, which is amazing, right? But they currently sit in 8th position in the table because of how many draws that they've had. This B- could easily be turned into an A if they could find a way of turning those draws into wins. And most importantly, not the other way and losing. Colchester United, D, at risk of relegation with only 2 wins from their opening 18 matches. There is a cause for concern at Colchester. They are only 2 points from safety, but they are now running the risk of being left behind with their poor start to the campaign. Currently at the foot of the Football League, they need to pick up their form to avoid relegation fast. Crawley Town, C-. Their recent form is promising. Similar to Wimbledon, really, their recent form has taken them up from a D to a C-. The Red Devils are undefeated in their last 5 matches, and despite 4 consecutive losses prior to that, this might be the kickstart that they need to turn their season around. Crewe Alexandra, it's a D. They're capable of a lot better. Despite having a small budget in comparison to the other teams, 16th feels a bit low for them given what we've seen from them over the last few seasons. The relegation from League One has, of course, really hurt this squad, which is clear to see, and the departure of John Coleman is one of the aspects as to why the squad have stuttered a bit, but they should be fine in the long run. But I'd be really surprised if they got relegated again. Doncaster, C+ for me. The ship is steady and they are within touching distance of the playoffs, the 3rd of the relegated sides in this list and arguably the only one with a chance of promotion back to League One. Doncaster are currently 10th in the league but are only 2 points from the playoffs. They've done well to steady the ship and look like a side capable of having a really good season, but they're not there yet and they need to do a little bit more for us to be convinced. Gillingham, D, need to score more goals. They really do. Gillingham have massively struggled in front of goal this season. They've only scored 6 goals from 17 matches, and it's got to be a huge worry for them. They struggled for goals last season too, with only 0.8 goals per 90, and it saw them relegated from League One. This year, it's even worse, with only 0.4 goals per 90. A big worry that needs sorting as soon as possible. Grimsby, B. They've handled the step up really well. It's a steady season for Grimsby after promotion last season. Many would have expected them to struggle. They've proved a lot of people wrong though, and are currently sitting in 14th position and look almost certain to stay up even this early in the season. Hopefully I'm not just cursed them there. Harrogate, C-, could be better, but it's not too bad. Last season, Harrogate finished 19th, which saw them safe, which was the goal, of course. The problem with Harrogate is they seem to be slipping a little bit. 2 seasons ago, they finished 17th, 19th last season. Now they currently sit in 21st place. They need to start gathering momentum before they descend into freefall. Hartlepool. D for Hartlepool, always going to be a struggle. After Dave Chandler left Hartlepool, it was going to have a long-term effect on the club and on the squad unless they got the next appointment absolutely spot on. Paul Hartley took over and they struggled to maintain the form they showed at the start of last season. They ended the season really poorly and that's crept into this season. Keith Curl now has a big job on his hands as the interim manager to turn it around quickly. Leyton Orient, it's got to be an A, absolutely flawless, well, almost. Leyton Orient were quite exciting in the early stages of last season, but ultimately started to fall off. The worry for them was that carrying over into this season, not the case, though, with Orient only losing 2 of their opening 18 matches and are currently top of the table. Their attacking style and new look attack is so exciting with goals across the board from those forwards. It's been a great start. Mansfield Town B+, no second season syndrome for Mansfield. After falling at the final hurdle last season in the playoff final, it was always going to be interesting to see if Mansfield were able to pick themselves up and dust themselves off, which can often be a problem. There can often be that hangover for the team that loses in the playoff final. They seem to be doing it though and look set for another playoff finish if current form is anything to go by. They've been so free scoring this season and with 27 goals so far, only Leyton Orient and Northampton have scored more. Newport County C-, underwhelming. James Robury had a really good start to management and had quite a high stock and quite an interesting and impressive reputation at Newport as a coach. But after the side started to wane towards the back end of last season, their form crept into this year and ultimately meant that he and the club parted ways. Under new manager Graham Coughlan, their form has been neither here nor there, with the side picking up some good results, but then undermining it with avoidable losses. Northampton, A. Bounced back really well after heartbreak last season. There has to be a lot of admiration for Northampton, who have coped well with the events of last season. They currently sit third in the table, which is an automatic promotion spot they will have been familiar with from last season, of course. Sam Hoskins has to receive a shout-out for his 13 goals so far this season. He has stepped up massively. Rochdale, C-. They are struggling offensively. Rochdale's struggles in front of goal means they currently sit 20th in the table. Last season they finished 18th, but averaged 1.15 points per game. This season, they're only averaging 0.83, which is a big drop-off. These stats suggest they need to find a way of winning matches quickly, or they could be sucked into a relegation battle. Salford City, B. Not bad, but could be better. Salford are in 9th spot at the minute. They always seem to hover around this position and haven't showed signs of progressing for a while, but they're only 2 points from the playoffs, and after a much better start than last season, their fans have the right to be hopeful. Stevenage, A. Looks like a completely different team. Stevenage last season finished 21st, only 9 points from relegation. Now they sit in 2nd place. Steve Evans has done a remarkable job since stepping into the job in March and has transformed this side from a team that struggled to score to a team that averages 1.4 goals per game. Amazing turnaround. Stockport County, B. They have also turned it around brilliantly after a tough start to life in League 2. Dave Challoner's side have turned a corner recently and look like they could make a playoff push after their promotion from the National League last summer, of course. Stockport are unbeaten in their last 7 and have flown up the league. Sutton United, C-. There's a bit of a hangover from last season after narrowly missing out on the playoffs last season by only 1 point in what was their first season in the league, in the Football League. This team looks to be suffering from second season syndrome, with momentum being difficult to come by. Sutton are currently 17th and have a problem when it comes to stringing together consecutive wins. Swindon Town, B. They're playing lovely football. Swindon are one of the best teams to watch from a neutral perspective, with a possession-based game working well for them. They're sitting in 6th spot and look set to replicate their finish from last season. Midfielder Johnny Williams has been excellent for them this year, scoring 6 goals so far. Tranmere, B-, a nearly team, it feels like. Tranmere have the potential to go 2 ways. Whilst being resilient at the back, they do tend to be low scoring, and that sees them have a lot of narrow matches, which ultimately means that they could draw a lot or even just miss out on any points at all. Having said this, they are in 11th place and are keeping pace with the other playoff hopefuls. If they found a way to score a few more goals, they could rocket up the table. Walsall, C, mid-table again this season. Walsall finished 16th last season, what was just a really dull one for them. They've improved this season, but look like they're on pace for another mid-table finish yet again. It's not dreadful, but it's not extremely exciting either. So there you have it, guys. Those are your grades for the first little part of the season, 18 games in. Let me know what you think. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Did I get it nearly right? Talk to me. Talk to me in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. And of course, subscribe to the League of 72.